I knew something was wrong the moment I opened her fitness app. I didn't mean to snoop. It wasn't planned. I'd picked up her phone by mistake. Hers and mine looked identical in the dark, and by the time I realized it wasn't mine, I'd already seen the notification. High activity detected, 2:14 a.m. Her watch logged it automatically. That moment split my world in two, before 2:14 a.m. and after. She told me she'd gone to the gym late. Said she couldn't sleep, wanted to clear her head. It was one of those casual throwaway explanations, the kind we accept when we don't want to dig. But 2:14 in the morning? That wasn't normal. And high activity wasn't walking on a treadmill or casually stretching. My first thought wasn't even betrayal. It was worry. What if she was in danger? What if she collapsed or had a panic attack? I opened the app again, searching for context, trying to find comfort in the data, but it only unsettled me more. Heart rate spikes, rapid shifts in position, nearly 45 minutes logged as intense cardio, all while she was supposedly doing laps in an empty gym downtown. I didn't say anything that morning. I just handed her the phone, careful not to let my hands shake. She smiled, kissed my cheek, told me she'd slept like a baby. And God help me, I said I was glad. We weren't always like this. There was a time I would have laughed at the idea of questioning her. Alina was the most disciplined person I knew, structured, goal-oriented, relentless. She planned our meals a week in advance, had separate calendars for work, fitness, and social life. She even scheduled in spontaneity. I used to find that endearing. Now it felt like a smokescreen. We met during a cycling fundraiser for cancer research. I had a flat tire on mile 15. She stopped without hesitation to help. She was fast, efficient, competent. We laughed when the chain grease left a mark on her cheek. That was the first time she called me slowpoke. I pretended to hate it. We got married 3 years later in a vineyard just outside Santa Barbara. She wore her mother's veil. I cried during my vows, and our families danced under string lights like they actually liked each other. It was a good day, a perfect day, one I go back to more and more lately, like replaying a movie before the twist ruins the magic. Things didn't fall apart overnight. I think that's what makes betrayal so cruel, how quiet it is. You don't hear the foundation cracking until the whole house shifts. At first, it was small things. She started leaving for the gym later than usual. Said the new schedule helped her avoid the crowds. Then came the longer showers. New perfumes. An extra set of clothes in the car she swore was just for after spin class. I asked once, gently, if everything was okay. She smiled and said, "Don't be insecure. I'm just trying to be consistent with my health goals." And maybe she was. Or maybe that was the first of many carefully curated half-truths. That night, the one with the 2:14 a.m. log, I didn't sleep. I lay there beside her, listening to the rhythm of her breath, wondering what she'd been doing while I'd been dreaming of her. Every sound in the room suddenly felt suspicious. The faint buzz of her phone charging, the creak of the ceiling fan, my own heartbeat, loud and accusatory. The next day, I tried to shake it off. I told myself I was being paranoid, that it was just exercise, that the timestamp meant nothing. Maybe she really did hit the gym in the middle of the night. Maybe I was projecting. So I waited. Not for a confession, just for more data. It came a week later. She told me she was heading to her Pilates class, kissed me on the forehead, said she'd be back by 11 p.m. I nodded, smiled. Then I opened the app again. This time, the activity started at 1:52 a.m. Same label, high activity. Lasted 40 minutes. No heart rate cool-down period, no return log from the gym. Just a spike. Then nothing. I stared at the screen until my eyes blurred. Not from tears, those would come later, but from the weight of knowing. Not guessing, not suspecting, knowing. I thought about calling her, about pretending to forget something, asking if she could pick up milk on her way back. Something to test her story, but I didn't. I just sat there, the screen burning into my hand. She came home at 11:07 p.m., same as always. Hair slightly damp, tired smile. Said the class was intense. I nodded. Sleep well? She asked the next morning. Yeah, I lied. Like a rock. I didn't confront her that day either. I couldn't. It's not that I was afraid of the answer. It's that I already knew it. What else did I need? A GPS ping from an unfamiliar address? A text from an unsaved number? The numbers were enough. I was a data analyst before I became a manager. I spent years learning how to spot patterns, trends, anomalies. I trusted the data more than I trusted my own instincts sometimes. That's what broke me. Not her lie, but the fact that the numbers had to be the ones to tell me. The final straw was stupid. A Saturday afternoon. I offered to make lunch, something I hadn't done in a while. She laughed, said she'd already eaten. I asked what. She hesitated. Said, a protein bar at the gym. I opened the app an hour later. No activity logged. No heart rate change. No location tag near the gym. Just a blank space. And I swear to God, that empty slot felt louder than anything else. I didn't ask again. I just left. The silence was almost sacred when I closed the door behind me. No slammed drawers. No shouting match. No dramatic speech with a suitcase in hand. Just the soft snick of the front door latch catching, like the punctuation mark at the end of a sentence I never wanted to write. I'd left my wedding ring on the bathroom sink, right where she'd find it before her morning run. If she ran, if she was even still keeping that routine for herself, or just for him. I didn't leave a note. I didn't think she deserved a monologue. The hardest part wasn't walking out. It was not looking back. I drove without a destination. Just pointed the car north, toward cooler air and open roads. For the first hour, I played our songs, Fleetwood Mac, some old John Mayer tracks, even the instrumental playlist we used on Sundays when we used to clean the apartment together. By the second hour, the music stopped. I couldn't hear anything except the buzz in my head. It's a strange kind of grief, leaving someone who doesn't know they've already lost you. Like attending your own funeral in secret. And the worst part? I wasn't angry. Not yet. I was numb. The kind of numb that feels like calm from the outside, but inside, you're floating, untethered, directionless. A balloon let go on accident. I ended up at a motel off Highway 18. The kind of place with flickering neon, faded curtains, and walls thin enough to hear a guy 2 doors down coughing up regrets. I didn't unpack. I just sat on the edge of the bed, turned off my phone, and stared at the ceiling fan as it spun slow. It felt strange not telling anyone where I was. No check-ins. No texts. Not even to my brother, who always knew when something was wrong before I said a word. But this wasn't just something wrong. This was something broken. I thought a lot that night about the last time she surprised me, in a good way. It was during lockdown. We were both working from home, pacing around the apartment like restless ghosts. One night, I came home from a grocery run to find the living room turned into a makeshift wine bar. Candles, jazz, a couple of cheap reds, and a cheese board she watched a YouTube tutorial to make. She even wore the dress from our first anniversary. She smiled like a teenager, said, "I miss dating you." We danced in our socks, laughed over spilled wine, made love on the floor. That was 2 years ago. Now I couldn't remember the last time we danced. Or even touched without it feeling like a routine. Like clockwork affection. I'd been so busy trying to hold on to what we were that I didn't realize how far we drifted from who we are. The next morning, I turned my phone back on. 12 missed calls. 5 voicemails. For texts from Alina. "Hey, where are you? Did something happen? Are you mad at me? Please call me." Nothing panicked. Nothing emotional. Just confusion, which told me everything. She didn't know yet that I knew. Not just about the late-night workouts, but about all of it. Because by then, I'd already looked deeper. I'd created a ghost account and synced it to her fitness tracker. It was easy. She used the same password for everything. Chardonnay 88. 2 weeks worth of logs. Midnight cardio sessions with no gym return. GPS coordinates that placed her repeatedly in the same neighborhood, 17 miles from our house. She never mentioned anyone who lived there. But her photos, her candids, her Instagram stories showed the same background. A certain leather couch. A red mug with a chipped handle. Not ours. I called the tracker company's customer service line the day before I left. Just out of curiosity, I asked them, what qualifies as high activity? The guy on the line chuckled, probably thinking I was a college kid trying to track his calories. "Well," he said, "it usually means your heart rate jumps 60% above baseline and stays elevated for a sustained period. It tracks motion too, repetitive motion, changes in elevation, all that. You know, like high-intensity interval training or other things." I didn't laugh. I started writing that night. Not a message to her. Not a confession. Just thoughts. Memories. I filled pages with the stuff I didn't say out loud. The way she used to trace circles on my wrist while we watched movies. How she stopped asking me how I slept. How I stopped wondering if she still dreamed of me. I wrote down every time I'd swallowed my instincts. Every time I told myself I was overthinking. Every little moment that, in hindsight, screamed for attention. And then I wrote the line I couldn't unwrite. She said she was at the gym. Her fitness tracker said otherwise. I didn't ask again. I just left. I stared at it for a long time. You always think you'll be the person who fights. The one who confronts, demands, screams. But when it really happens, when the truth shows up like an unexpected guest at your front door, sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away. Not for pride, not for revenge, but because you finally understand that staying won't fix what someone else has already decided to break. She called again that night. I let it ring. I finally answered her call 4 days later. Not because I wanted to talk, but because I knew if I didn't, I'd carry her silence with me longer than I could bear. I was sitting on a bench near a lake in some nowhere town with pine trees and a fog that made everything feel like it was holding its breath. My coffee had gone cold. My hands were steady. My voice, surprisingly, was calm. "Hey," I said. She was crying before I even finished the word. "Oh my God," she breathed. "Where are you? I thought something happened. You just vanished." I didn't answer right away. I listened to the tremble in her voice, the frantic energy, the part of her that still thought maybe I'd been in a car crash or lost my mind. She didn't know yet. I told her I was safe, that I was thinking, that I needed space. She asked, space from what? And there it was, the question. So I asked one of my own. Gently. So gently, I almost hated myself for it. "Where were you last Tuesday at 2:14 in the morning?" There was a long pause. Not shocked silence. Calculating silence. The kind you learn to recognize when someone's choosing between denial and a less convincing lie. "The gym," she said, voice careful. "Alina," I said softly. "Don't lie. Not now." Another pause. Then, "Why are you asking that?" I closed my eyes. Inhaled the cold morning air. "Because your fitness tracker logged high activity. Not at the gym. Not even near it." Silence. Then a nervous laugh. "You went through my fitness app?" I didn't respond to that. I didn't have to. The shift came then. Subtle, but enough. Her tone changed. She went from worried to defensive. "That's a huge violation, you know," she said. "You had no right." "You're sleeping with someone," I said quietly. The words didn't explode. They just settled. She didn't deny it. Not right away. Then came the whisper. "It's not what you think." A line rehearsed by millions before her. "Then help me," I said, "understand what it is. Because either the data is lying or you are." She didn't answer. I didn't push. Eventually she exhaled, long and broken. "It started 6 months ago." She told me the truth, or at least the version she was ready to admit. "It wasn't serious," she said. "Just someone she met at a networking event. Someone who made her feel seen." I almost laughed at that word. Seen. Like I'd spent the last 4 years invisible in our home. "He doesn't mean anything," she added. "But you kept going back." She didn't deny that either. "I didn't know how to stop," she whispered. "I felt like if I told you, everything would fall apart." "It already did," I said. She wanted to meet. Said she owed me that much. I agreed, not because I hoped for some grand reconciliation, but because part of me needed to look her in the eyes and confirm what the data, the silence, and my gut had already told me. We met at a quiet cafe in the middle of the day. She wore a navy coat I'd bought her last Christmas. Her hair was pulled back the way she used to wear it when we first started dating. She looked tired. Smaller, somehow. I didn't touch her. Didn't hug her. I just sat down and waited. "I'm sorry," she said. "I know. I never meant to hurt you. But you did." Tears came. She reached for my hand. I let her hold it for a moment. "One final mercy." "Do you hate me?" she asked. "No," I said. "I'm just done." We signed the divorce papers a month later. She didn't fight it. I didn't drag it out. We divided things with eerie ease, as if we both knew neither of us had the energy for a war. People always ask what the last straw was, like they expect a dramatic scene. A screaming match. A suitcase thrown down the stairs. But for me, it was a line of text. "High activity, 2:14 a.m. That was it. That was the moment I realized she had already left me in every way but physically. That no explanation would make the numbers lie. That I could either beg for scraps or walk away with what little self-respect I had left. It's been 6 months now. I live in a smaller place, closer to the coast. I make my own coffee. I sleep better, most nights. I go for long walks without needing to explain where I'm going or when I'll be back. Some days, I still think about her. Not with anger. Not even with sadness, Really. Just with distance. Like remembering a story someone once told you that used to mean everything, until it didn't. I never deleted the fitness app. Not because I wanted to spy, but because I wanted to remember. Not her, but the moment I chose myself. The moment I realized silence can be an answer. And sometimes, walking away isn't weakness, it's clarity. She said she was at the gym. Her fitness tracker said, high activity, 2:14 a.m. I didn't ask again. I just left.